This is Debbie doing the compost turning with the crank. Notice she goes all the way right down to the bottom and she brings it all the way up to the surface, and she's probably going to do it about 10 times. Notice she leans back a little bit just to pull it up so she doesn't hurt her back, and notice she's going right into the edges as well as into the middle, and after about 10 times that's fine. Okay, Leah's alternatively using this small handle crank. Again, it's just a turn and a pull, a turn and a pull, and this is aerating the compost so it dries out much better. Okay, and they're taking care not to get themselves too dirty like that. Okay, so this is emptying. Debbie and Leah are going to lift the poles out, at least one, and then draw the door back. That might need a little bit of shifting. Okay, and the guys are going to use a shovel and they're going to put it into a large bag. This is best done if one holds open the bag and one shovels. Okay, it's a bit of a messy job, but if you take turns it's easily done. Notice this, as you put it in the bag, it still might be a little bit smelly, but in a big open bag, and the fact that they're introducing more air as they dig it is really helping as well. Now notice down at the bottom it's a little bit wet, which shows when we're doing the cranking we need to go right into the corners to make sure it's all dry, because that's a little bit wet. That one's pretty much empty, a few scraps in there, but we're not worried about that. Well, that will help to start off the new compost. So Leah's just going to put that door back together now. Notice that was our first one, so that one's there has been the longest, and that one is now at the bottom of the bag because that's the driest one because it's the oldest. And now we'll move on to the next one and put that in the same bag. Now we're on the next bin. You notice where Deborah's hitting at the bottom, there's a bit compact there. That again shows that you've got to getting it cranked every single week really helps. Now of course when you're on holidays or on mock exams that becomes very tricky, so having a group do it every single week makes a big difference. The more you crank it, the lighter it is, the less smelly it is, the easier it is to shovel. Of course we're nearly filling this bag. We've got to check we can still move this bag, but I reckon that's 2 bins worth. That's all we're going to do today. Only 2 of those are ready, and that's about enough for a full bag. Notice Debbie's picking out any extra little bits of plastic there, and those can be disposed of temporarily in the black bin here, and then we'll put them into a proper garbage bin. See, that's about as full as a bag that we want to be, no more heavy. It can be moved by 3 people, just about. And we're going to push it right over and in the corner here. Now what we're going to do is just going to fold over the top because it's a little bit smelly, and we're just going to let it finish for a few more weeks in there. It should break down. Occasionally we can open it up and we can crank it as well. Okay, this is the crucial job, so you can leave the compost site. It's got to be in a perfect state ready, so it takes a bit of time. You've got a broom that they got from the shed. That's the shed just over there. A broom from the shed. They're going to sweep it. Leah's collected all the plastic, which she's going to dump in one of the normal black college waste bins. Okay, so Deborah's swept it, so it's tidy. Last bit is to do a wash down. Leah's gone inside the shade house here, and we've got a hose connected to a tap here. Now we're going to wash down the whole of the area, and we're going to wash down all the tools. So notice how she's going and washing right the way between, so any waste flows down behind where it's not going to cause any problems. And keeps at it. It's about a sort of a good 5-minute job of the whole area. And you can see the water's flowing. That means it's there's no material trapped between the bins, and it's all going to be clean. So I'm just clearing the waste here. Okay, so now the waste is comes through, any sort of spare compost, this comes through. The more often you do this, the less material builds up, and it's going to be better, and it's going to fertilise the plants right down the slope here as well. So all that's good. This is much cleaner. The water's flowing freely down, and if you like, you can just chuck any material down the slope. Gets it out of the way. By the shade house out of the way, Deborah's just rinsing the tools off. Make sure they're nice and clean. This is a very important task. You don't want stuff hanging on, and it keeps the tools nice and sharp and clean. It's also a good little chance to wash any material off your sneakers. Okay, the girls are just taking a bag of leaves from the steel shed. The steel shed is just the one to the side of the compost. Just be careful of ants here. Okay, so now we've got some fresh leaves. They're breaking down already into compost in the bin, and the tongs are left there. And okay, so this bin at the moment, you see it's just over sort of half full, and we're going to leave that bin to settle now, so it'll be easier to turn and it won't get too heavy. And we're going to move on to what's the next bin number, Debbie?
3.
Next bin 3. So the girls are now going to write up on the board over here, February 11th, the week beginning February 11th, they're going to write bin 3, and then they can tell Claire Willis, who can pass it on to the grade 5. So last jobs here. Debbie's using the pole to bring back the lid, make sure the lid's on top. And they're just going to shift over the ramp. This makes sure that the grade 5s will come, even if they don't read the notice, onto the right bin. So that's the last bin. Notice the area is clean and tidy. It's been hosed down, it's brushed down. The leaf bin's full, all the lids are closed, the board's been done, the tools are back in the shed or drying out outside. Well done.